Good morning, everyone, and happy end of 2020. For many of us, it is a deep sigh of relief as we look forward to the new year, more so than in years past, because this year has been one heck of a roller coaster ride, at least for us. I don't know about you. You may notice I've got this special background today, my donut halo, and I did that because our guest is an amazing author, coach. She's all about living the healthy lifestyle, which means you can eat donuts, just not all the time. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am Mary Nunley. I am the co host of Create, Engage, Succeed. Before I introduce Amadeus and our special guest today, I do want to do a quick plug. I am going to be a featured speaker on Monday, January the 4th at 4 p.m. Central Time on the Entrepreneur Rocket Fuel Summit, talking about gamifying your course for improving learner engagement. Mouthful of a topic. Basically, it's how do you make your course more fun so that your learners stick around. So with that being said, let me introduce my co-host.
Amadeus Nunley.
And our special guest, Miss Sheri Traxler. So Sheri, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
All right. I am an author, a speaker, and a health coach. I've been doing this I'm almost going to give away my age when I say this, but I have been doing this for 30 years now.
Wow.
And so a lot of years of experience. And it was really funny, just quick story. Whenever I got into this field, I got in the health and wellness space as an exercise physiologist, as a personal trainer. And Mary Amadeus, it got really frustrating whenever I would say, Mary, how did your workouts go last week that I designed for you? And you'd go, oh, well, I didn't get any in, or only got one in, or whatever. Or, how did your eating go? Oh, I ate donuts all week, or whatever. And I realized that a lot of things were going in between the ears that I needed to deal with. So I got more in the health coaching space and speaking because I like to help groups. So just right off the bat, I'll go ahead and say this before we even dive into all the deep stuff, is for anybody watching, listening, who is thinking, I want a healthy year next year, but I've tried and failed, and I don't want to fail again, let's hop on a strategy call. There's no obligation. Let's just get you some strategies, get you on the right foot. And of course, I do have a couple of slots for new clients. So, that's always available, but let's hop on the call and get you some help. So anyway, that's about me in general.
No, that's wonderful. And for those of you watching, whether it's today, next year, in a couple of hours, I strongly encourage you to reach out to Sheri. We met through a local networking group, and we literally hit it off like at that first moment. It's like, you know how when you just meet somebody, it's like, yeah, that's my people. And so one of the things I'll say is Sheri is not a hard sell person, but she knows her stuff. She and I've had many conversations about, Mary, you need to improve your posture at your desk. Let me give you some ideas. And I'm like, Sheri, have you thought about this for your course? Or blah, blah, blah. So she's all about providing value and sharing and just helping you live your best life. And I know that's somewhat cliche these days, but she's the real deal. But with that being said, Amadeus and I have a few questions for you that we think could really help our audience. So I'm going to let Amadeus start and take it away on.
All right. So we'll give you a nice, easy first question. I think that'll be right in your wheelhouse. So what are some simple practices that people can do or we can do to feel our best kind of going into this new year with hopefully high optimism and
Yes. Well, actually, I'm going to spin off on your word right there where you talked about optimism, because so much of feeling our best is not only physical, and I'll be glad to share tips on that, but it's also the mental energy with that. So a few things there. We often try to get all these hacks and really cool, fun, unusual things before we've done the basics. So I'm going to start with the basics. One is sunshine. We know that sunshine, when it hits your eyes, when it hits your skin, it boosts your feel-good hormones. It boosts your ability to think. And the good news is, as well, at the end of the day, all of that chemical that's been built up in your body from that sunshine converts to melatonin in the evening, which is going to help you sleep better. So right there, you've hit two really important keys to feeling your best. One is getting your sunshine to have energy during the day, and the other one is sleeping well at night. Another one that's real basic is exercise. And okay, I'm just going to ask Mary and Amadeus both, when you exercise and you're thinking about how you should exercise, what immediately comes to mind? What have you heard that how you should exercise for it to be effective?
So I've heard a bunch of things, including, you need to do like at least 30 minutes of aerobic activity, or you need to walk or run or do something like that. I think Amadeus has heard a lot of other things because he's a former, top level athlete. So I'll let him share his, but mine is just move at least 30 minutes a day.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of different things. I usually subscribe to more of you don't need to go for a long time. You just need to go for an effective amount of time and to work, as much of your body or different muscle groups and body parts as you can. But I usually go very intensely for a small amount of time instead of very gently for a long amount of time.
Okay. You're both right. Oh. Because the bottom line from a feel-good standpoint is your body doesn't care how it moves, it just wants to move. So if that translates for someone that they're going to have an app that dings if they haven't moved for an hour, and so then they get up and they walk for 10 minutes, the rule of thumb there, if you're going to use that form of exercise, is every 60 minutes, you want to be moving for 6 minutes.
Okay.
If you enjoy high intensity exercise, which it sounds like Amadeus, that's something that you enjoy, that is a version that you can do as well as high intensity for shorter periods. One of the biggest traps that we sometimes get into is all or none, thinking that, it's got to be high intensity or it doesn't work, or it's got to be a long run or a long walk or it doesn't work. The biggest takeaways on this is don't sit for extended periods. Even if you do a high intensity workout in the morning, that doesn't give you liberty to sit the rest of the day if you want to feel your best. You've got to be constantly doing some kind of movement with that. The other trap that we get into with that all or none is, I don't have time for a 30-minute walk today, so I'm not going to do anything. No, a 5-minute walk is still better than nothing. A 10-minute walk is still better than nothing for several reasons. One, it gets you in the habit of becoming an exerciser, but also it does get the blood flowing and get more oxygen to the brain. So both of you are right. I will say, Amadeus, with the high intensity, this is one of those hacks. I'm going to go ahead and get into a hack that when you exercise affects the brain differently depending on length and intensity. Mm-hmm. When you are this is actually good for you all since you write courses. Okay. When someone is in learning mode, they are really triggering the hippocampus in the brain. High intensity exercise fires up the hippocampus. So if you are in like that, y'all need to build this into your courses. It's like, we're going to have fun in our courses, but everybody's going to do 10 minutes of jumping jacks really intensely beforehand. Okay. Maybe not, but
no, I like it.
Yeah. So before you learn, high intensity exercise is going to help you retain the information. But on a day that, let's say somebody's doing a CEU study and then a CEU test, the day of the test, no high intensity exercise, because it actually shuts down that high intensity shuts down your ability to recall that information. It also can spike cortisol, which is going to decrease your ability to remember things. So high intensity has pros and cons from a learning standpoint. That's a little hack.
It's good to know.
And I was going to say that cortisol comment too, because one of the things that I've heard frequently, especially in the last 6 months, myself included, is I don't remember things like I used to. Do you think from a health coach standpoint, the fact that most of the globe has been under such unusual stress this year, that some of the fact that people are forgetting things has more to do with just all that cortisol that our bodies have been releasing, causing us to go, I don't know who I am. What day is it?
Right. It absolutely has. And you think about a time in people's lives when stress is really high. It's not just that they're distracted, it is all that cortisol. I remember many years ago, I went through a divorce. I was putting milk in the pantry and cereal in the refrigerator. Why? The cortisol was so high. So this has been a lower version of that for a lot of people, but sustained over, not just a few months, but a whole year.
Right. Well, and I think that also leads into the next question we wanted to ask you about is, about dieting and having a healthy diet. Is dieting the way to go? Because again, a lot of us have somewhat jokingly talked about, there's the freshman 15, the COVID-19, because so many of us are staying home, but then not making the best food choices and not getting out and exercising. So you've got like a perfect storm for 2021 health-wise.
Oh, you've hit on a passion of mine. I am a certified intuitive eating counselor. My background personal with that is I grew up dieting. I think I went on my first diet in fact, I don't think I know, because I still have the Diet and Exercise magazine that I got when I was 9 years old. Wow. Not because I was obese and needed to lose weight. I went on a diet to lose 2 pounds. And it's because that's just what the women in my family did. So I developed this diet mentality of this food is good, this food is bad. And, I can't have that. Well, of course, Amadeus, I don't know if you've ever dieted or not, but if I tell you, no, okay, good man. If I tell you, Amadeus, from this day on, you can never have chocolate in any form again. Well, first off, do you even like chocolate? If you don't like chocolate, this isn't. No. Okay, well, tell me one of your favorites.
Pasta.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So if from this day forward, you can never have pasta again, what are you going to start craving?
I want to need some pasta real bad.
You're going to need some pasta real bad. Yes, yes. Whereas if you know that you can have pasta anytime that you want it, and anytime that, if you're in that sense of, okay, I'm physically hungry, I want some pasta for dinner or whatever, you're not going to overeat it. You're not going to eat it just because it's there. You're going to enjoy it when you have it because it is something you really enjoy. But it's not a forbidden food. And once you put that forbiddenness around something, we know from science, you begin to crave that more because of that fear of deprivation. So we're going to condense 20 years of dieting I created a really bad relationship with food. And there was a moment I was in a break room and I saw a friend of mine, he had a Taco Bell bean burrito. So clearly remember this. He had one bite left, you all. He wrapped it up and he put it in the fridge. And I looked at him and I went, Sean, why did you just do that? Because in my world, I would have either been beating myself up about the number of carbs or fat or whatever I was counting at the time. And so I would have finished it from fear of deprivation, or finished it because I didn't know when I was going to let myself have it again. Maybe I'd been hungry making myself go hungry that day. Whatever, all this drama around it. So I asked him and he said, well, I'm not hungry anymore. So I put it in the fridge and when I get hungry again, I'll eat it. There's a different way to approach food. Oh my word, what is this? So I realized my way wasn't working. So I started researching his way. Intuitive eating wasn't a big thing at that time. We were still really into diet. And of course, media is still really into diets. You've got keto, you've got paleo, you've got vegan, you've got everything.
Right.
And they all conflict and people get confused. And then they throw their hands up and say, forget it, I'm not going to do it. Unless you have a medical issue that says you need to do something a certain way. Really, it comes down to 4 letters. And I'm just going to give a quick lesson on intuitive eating. Is that cool, y'all?
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
Okay. So 4 letters, HWSS. If you're watching and you're taking notes, write this down. H is for, am I physically hungry? If you're not physically hungry, that means something else is going on that you need to deal with. And, then you start getting into, well, why am I emotionally eating? And what are some other ways to take care of myself? So there's a whole lot of stuff that we can unpack in that. But understanding your body was wired from the time you were born to eat when you were physically hungry. And then just like a kid, when they're done eating, they play with their food. When you're not hungry, you're not going to eat. Right. W is what do you really want? So Amadeus, the pasta. When you say, I like pasta, in that moment when you're asking yourself, what do I really want? It's what do my taste buds really want? Oh, they really want pasta. Okay, how do you want to feel 2 hours from now? How does full?
Yeah, full of pasta.
Okay, full of pasta. Yeah. And how do you want to feel as far as your energy?
You're pretty good, I would imagine.
You want to feel pretty good. Yeah. Awake, alert. Okay. If you were to eat only a massive bowl of pasta, how would you feel 2 hours later physically?
I mean, based on experience, pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay. So for your body, that's a good thing. For my body, if I ate just a big bowl of pasta with nothing else, I would feel sluggish a couple of hours later.
And that would be me.
And that would be you. So for me, knowing my body, when I say, what do I really want? Oh, I really want some pasta. But because I also want to feel great a few hours from now, maybe I need to have some chicken and vegetables with it and a smaller portion of pasta. Still have the pasta, just in the balance of how I know my body feels best. Slow and savor is your first S. Anytime that you are eating distracted, we know scientifically from research and all that we eat 10% more calories when we eat distracted. So let's say you're eating that pasta, but you're eating it while you're checking emails, you're eating it while you're watching TV, whatever. It's very easy to overeat it because you're not paying attention to the physical satiation as well as how mentally and emotionally, because food is supposed to make us have that feeling. And, you just blow right past that if you're stressed out doing this email while you're eating it. And then the last S relates to that, and that's stopping when you're satisfied. When you have that feeling, it's like, okay, I'm good. I know I can have it again anytime I want it. A friend and I who were on this intuitive eating journey together, she said her brother, who had never dieted, key lime pie was his thing. And they were at a family function and they had some key lime pie, and meaning it was available, and he wasn't eating it. And she asked him, that's your favorite dessert. Why aren't you eating it? And he said the words, because I know I can have it anytime, I don't want it.
Nice.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, this is really helpful. And just to kind of jump back, Amadeus actually was on a diet once.
Okay.
He was not eating enough calories for the amount of physical activity he was doing as a competitive tennis player. So we actually ended up at a nutritionist that to tell you how behind he was, she had him eating 6,000 calories a day because he was probably burning close to 12,000 calories a day. We could never get him to eat enough food because he ate mostly vegetables, lean proteins, and things like that. And she was just flabbergasted. It's like, well, because he eats a healthy diet, he's not filling up on milkshakes and stuff like that. And it's like, come on, Amadeus, we got to go suck down another milkshake.
Yeah, that was rough. I kind of forgot about that. Yeah, I had to go, I think, from the 3,000 or 3,500 calories per day I was doing, and they're like, you need at least 6,000. I was like, I don't know how I can do that.
Double.
Yeah, I don't know how I can do that.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of an anti-intuitive eating. He was also the child that, you think about parents in a grocery store, and oftentimes it's the kid crying because they couldn't have any candy. He was the kid who would sit in the cart and cry because I wouldn't give him broccoli as we were going through the produce section. So, he's wired very differently than I think a lot of people are, but it was just kind of funny. So that was an exciting experience. Fortunately, he didn't have to stay on that 6,000 calorie diet for long.
Or you would have gone broke.
Exactly. Well, and on that note, though, what I have seen with a lot of people I know that have gone from either being collegiate athletes or not weekend warriors, but people that are actually very like training for a marathon or something, when they stop, they have a hard time adjusting their food intake because they're so used to like, oh, I'm training for a marathon. I need to eat more calories. I need to eat more. And now I'm not. It's winter or whatever. What suggestions do you have from them? I know the HWSS, but are there other things to help with that like crash that happens?
Well, it is, your body will adjust, because I have been through that as well. I was a cross-country runner in college. Your body will adjust over a couple of weeks period, its appetite. So if someone has been, I think this might be the trick with this. If someone has been eating a lot because they're thinking I should eat a lot because I'm training versus I'm hungry because I'm training so much, and they're making choices accordingly versus just vegetables and lean protein like Amadeus was doing, but they're making a broader choice. Their body within a couple of weeks will begin to downregulate the appetite. If they pay attention to that, they'll be good. If they are still in, like you were talking about, Mary, this, I need, they're going by what this is telling them instead of what their body is telling them. It's like, oh, I need to eat, I need to eat. The other is just to watch portion sizes. And this is a little bit of an external thing, but it does help us begin to gauge better. If you make a fist, this is about the size of your stomach. Whenever you are not doing heavy duty training, a meal chewed up, I mean, obviously this is, a salad this size is going to hold you for 5 minutes. But this amount of food chewed up in your stomach is about what you need in a meal.
Wow.
So if you are training, that's going to be bigger and more often. But if you're not training 3 to 5 times a day, this is about the right amount. Again, a plate with this amount of food is not going to fill you up. So imagine putting your plate in a food processor. And if it comes to be about this volume, you're good.
Okay. That's a great tip. I know we're almost out of time, and I want to make sure that we get, I don't know, what are Sheri's words of wisdom for going into the new year? So many people are saying, my number one resolution is to diet. And then they feel horrible because after 2 weeks, they're just like, oh, I fell off the wagon. So what is your suggestion for those people? And then finally, I would love to wrap it up with you telling us a little bit about your book and your coaching, because the book is great.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The number one tip, because I've got 7 going through my head, because I teach a workshop on the 7 steps to make healthy lifestyle stick. But if I was to pick, I can't pick one. Can I pick 2?
Sure, you can pick 2.
Okay. So these are my 2 tips for you. Really foundational. One is to know your big why. And your big why, it's going to be different than somebody else's. And do not let somebody else tell you what your big why should be. It is your body, it's your life, it's your 2021. Make sure it's your why. A client who he came to me saying he wanted to get in the habit of exercise. He wanted specifically, he said, I want to go to the gym 3 days a week. Well, he was a try, fail on that. I said, why do you want to do that? He said, well, because I want to have more energy. Like, great. Why do you want to have more energy? Because that's kind of a surface why. Well, because I want to be more productive in my work. He was an entrepreneur, so he was able to measure how much his energy and productivity tied to his income. So when I said, why do you want to be more productive? Well, so I can make more money. Great. That's still surfacey. Believe it or not, that's not that big motivation to get somebody to live out their lifestyle. Then I said, well, why do you want to do that? Well, so I can better provide for my family. Okay, we're starting to get closer here. I said, well, tell me more about that. Why is that? His long story, after several layers of whys, his big dream was to buy a large plot of land to build homes on so that his family, even down to great grandkids who he was never going to meet, would have a place to come to in for vacationing or in a time of crisis or whatever.
Wow.
They would have that security forever. And I said, okay, then your choice now is not, do I go to the gym or not? It's, do I leave a legacy for my family or not? So when you hit that 5 o'clock in the afternoon and you're tired, that's your choice. So that's my first encouragement, is dig down through your whys until you find that thing that punches you in the gut and you go, yeah, this is really why.
My why being, well, because my doctor told me I need to lose 50 pounds. Okay, maybe we need to dig a little deeper and say, well, why do you need to lose 50 pounds? Is it because of insurance chart? Is it because there's some health issues blooming, that type of thing? And then find what really motivates us.
Yes, absolutely. And so even with like those health issues blooming, well, if I end up with those health issues, how does that impact my life? And start really, like I had one gal who, her why, it wasn't anything, you know, profound like a big tract of land legacy, but what hit her was, I don't want for on my daughter's wedding day for everybody to be talking about, well, her mom would be here, except her mom didn't take care of herself and died early. So find your big why. And then the other one is what I call a micro commitment. So if you're, let's just do 30 seconds of coaching. Mary, tell me a goal, and it doesn't even have to be health and wellness. Tell me a goal that you have for next year. An activity goal, something you want to make a habit of.
Walk every day.
Walk every day. Okay. So if walking every day is something that you're wanting to do, a micro commitment related to that would be put on your walking shoes every day.
Okay.
Not, you know, a lot of people think, well, I'm going to make a goal of I'm going to walk for 30 minutes. So my micro commitment is I'm going to walk for 10. No, on a day that life stinks and you don't feel like it, 10 minutes is going to still seem overwhelming. So you just simply put your walking shoes on. Okay. I kept my commitment. I had a woman who, her minimal commitment, her micro commitment was, I'm going to go to the gym and show my membership card and leave. Well, of course, what happens, she gets there. Oh, I'll go ahead and walk a little. Oh, I'll go ahead. So micro commitments are powerful for a lot of reasons. I won't go into all those reasons. We can hop on a strategy call if you want to talk about the reasons, but just know that you need one with whatever your habit is. And then you wanted me to talk about my book and my coaching. My book is, you can find it on Amazon or on my website, Go Forward, 28 Days to Eat, Move, and Enjoy Life God's Way. It's a devotional guide on what the Bible says about health. And I have had people just rave about how it has transformed their habits as well as how they relate scripture to that. And then you said the coaching as well.
Yes.
My coaching. Okay. So I do one-on-one coaching, do the private mentoring. I also have a couple of online courses that are small group coaching, and those will help you make these habits, make this lifestyle stick so that you end 2021 a different person, still the same person, but a better version of you. We'll put it that way.
I like that. And one last question. I know just before the holidays, you did a challenge. Do you have any challenges coming up?
I do not. That actually was one of the small group coaching. It was an 8-week challenge that walked people through all of those habits. So I do have the next small group coaching called Thrive Life that's kicking off again. But it's not necessarily a challenge based. Good question.
Okay. Excellent. And just so that for those of you that know me, her Thrive Life is very different than Thrive Life.
Yes, absolutely. Totally.
So I didn't want people going, oh, wait, she's doing a thing around freeze-dried foods. No. She's been doing Thrive Life for a very long time, not freeze-dried foods. So
however, freeze-dried foods, if you use them, they fit very well into this.
Yeah, and there's limited storage, nothing goes bad, that kind of thing. But I just wanted to end by saying,
I'm glad you did.
Confused, because if you go and Google Thrive Life, there's a good possibility that you'll find a food company and you're not going to find Sheris. So just to make sure everybody's aware of that. This has been fascinating, and it's always a pleasure to talk with you and learn more about what you do. I do want to chat with you afterwards because I've got a group that I think could potentially really benefit from this. So
great.
We'll set that up after the first of the year, but I think this is fascinating. So with that, the video is on the Diamond Factor Experience page. It will also be up on the YouTube channel tomorrow. I'll post a link. If you'd like to get a hold of Sheri, it's in the bio that we posted yesterday, but I will also add her contact information in the page notes. And Sheri will be also in the group, just like there to answer your questions. So, if you've got any questions, and I know a lot of us watch videos on the replay, we don't watch them in the moment, especially this week, right before the holidays. Watch, listen, drop us a comment. We love to see you. And this is Mary signing off for the end of 2020 with the last Create, Engage, Succeed show of the year. And Amadeus, do you have any parting words?
Keep on surviving the year out. We'll get through this.
And Sheri, your final message to the audience.
You can do this.
Awesome. And for those of you who don't know, Sheri is also in Nashville, where we had a little bit of a surprise on Christmas morning. And I am just grateful that we are all safe, healthy, and back online. So with that, have a wonderful new year. Enjoy the day. Don't beat yourself up too much. And we'll see you in the new year. Bye.